Hi, everyone. Hello, welcome. Good morning and good afternoon, or good evening, potentially. Hi, welcome. I can see we still have a couple people joining, so we'll just give it one moment while people enter the room. But for those that are on the line, thank you so much for dialing in. Please feel free to come off mute and say hello if you are able and willing. We'll make a start in the next couple minutes.
Hello.
Hi, Andreas. Hello.
Is it just, do I need to install my background as well? I see you've all got the same background.
We'll let you
Okay,
off.
hang
That's
on.
fine.
I'll do it and I'll rejoin.
Great. Hi everyone. I can see that the numbers are ticking up nicely now, so maybe we can make a start in the interests of time. Just a little bit of housekeeping and then we'll kick off. For everybody's awareness, this session will be recorded, so we absolutely welcome cameras on, and of course, please do feel free to come off mute and discuss when we get to the questions section. But as mentioned, the session is being recorded, so if you'd rather not be on screen, that is also okay. The chat function is available. And we welcome any questions throughout the short presentation we will make at the beginning of this session. In terms of the agenda, this is hopefully a very interactive session. We want this to be informal. We want this to be an opportunity for you all to engage with us and meet the team, and importantly, use it as an opportunity to explore the value and the engagement routes ahead in the global design sprint that we are launching. So just as a quick recap for those that have just been dialing in the last 30 seconds or so, the session is being recorded, so we welcome your cameras on. Please use the chat function, and we will have space for questions in the second half of this call. So without further ado, we will make a start just so we save as much time as possible for discussion. My name is Lauren Casals, and I lead innovation programs at the Alliance for Innovative Regulation. I'm joined today by my amazing team who lead various elements of the programme of work that we'll be discussing today. And we hope that you find it informative and engaging, and most importantly, are leaving this call feeling inspired to complete your applications to join us in this programme of work. So just to welcome you all and outline the objectives that we'll be progressing with, Cyrene, if you could just move to the next slide, that would be fab. Thank you. As mentioned, we will be giving an overview of who we are, the GDD programme that we are delivering, and most importantly, the objective of the Global Design Sprint that is very excitingly now live. We will be running through the timeline, the structure, time commitments, and the resources that will be available throughout that process. You'll then have a live demo of the application process and the platform that we're hosting this sprint work on. But as noted, if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat and we will be happy to cover. I will have to take a couple pauses throughout this call. As you can hear, my voice is a little bit on the exit from myself. So I'm just going to pause at this point, take a quick drink, and then we will kick off with this session. Perfect. Okay. So without further ado, we will make a start. So this, as mentioned, is supposed to be a very informal session. We want to convene this conversation to be a dialogue, so please do come off mute. And we'd like to kick off just with a welcome. Please pop into the chat where you're from, the jurisdiction. Sorry, I'm just about to sneeze. Sorry, Cyrene, would you just make a quick start on this slide just while I catch my breath?
Sure. Hi, everyone. So my name is Sirin Forrest. I also work at the Alliance for Innovative Regulation, and I'm a program manager at AIR, and obviously working on the Global Design Sprint, which we're presenting today. So welcome, everyone. As Lauren said, please come into the chat. You're more than welcome to do so. Enter your names, maybe the organizations that you work with, and also your countries. We like to see, I'm sure we have a really diverse representation of geographies, so we're always really thrilled to see that. I'd like to also welcome you again to this Q&A session. We'll be running through a few slides just to really have an overview, a very high-level overview of what the design sprint is, and obviously how you can go into the platform and complete your applications. And then most of the session will be on the Q&A. Lauren, if you want to come back in.
Yes. Sorry about that. As classic timing, just you start to have a sneezing fit as you begin to present. So thank you so much, Cyrene, and again, welcome everybody to this call. Just to recap, please do use the chat function. I can see we still have people joining. So to recap, the session will be recorded, but we welcome any questions live or through the chat function itself. Just moving on to the next slide, Cyrene, please. So as a quick introduction, for those that aren't aware, we are the Alliance for Innovative Regulation, and we work globally with regulators around the world to support them in navigating complex challenges, navigating technology, navigating innovation, and importantly, resulting in more inclusive regulation. Now, as we are all aware, that is a complex landscape, and the crux of solving that problem is through collaboration. So that is at the core of everything that we do, and that is really at the core of the launch of this Global Design Sprint. And the backdrop that we are hosting this Global Design Sprint against is under our Gender Disaggregated Data for Inclusive Regulation programme. And we'll share further information about this through links in the chat and also offline, but hopefully you've had a little chance to have a read about what the purpose of the programme is and what we're aiming to do with this Global Design Sprint already. For those that maybe haven't had a chance to yet, as a quick recap, the programme itself is working across 5 jurisdictions. So we have real depth of engagement with 5 priority jurisdictions, and in particular the central banks and regulatory agencies in those. And that includes Nigeria, Tanzania, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Rwanda. Now, when we were embarking on this programme, what we quite quickly understood and established was there is such strength in the global innovation ecosystem that are passionate about solutioning of these complex challenges in a way that shine a light on new ideas, not only for those 5 jurisdictions that we were working in, but again, from a global perspective, to connect with each other, to learn about opportunities from different jurisdictions, and importantly result in a position that drives more inclusive regulation through the use of gender data. Now, this, as I mentioned, is not a simple problem to solve. And again, the Global Design Sprint, we are so excited about bringing you all into this conversation and learning from you all in this process. We think is a really fantastic and exciting vehicle to explore how we solution, how we collaborate, and how we solve this complex challenge together. So just moving on to the next slide in terms of what a sprint is. Now, this is a topic that we are very familiar with, so we'll spend a little bit of time explaining how this works. And then in the subsequent slides, we'll begin to bring to life what that means in the global design context for the Gender Disaggregated Data programme. So as we've already mentioned, we are exploring complex challenges within this programme and within this particular sprint. And ultimately, the opportunity presented through leveraging the sprint model allows us to convene diverse stakeholders, allows us to bring together teams that may otherwise have not had the opportunity to work together into a technical development environment where they can access data, where they can access research, mentorship, insights, webinars, masterclasses, a whole range of program components that allow teams to rapidly prototype tools, technologies, policy frameworks, concepts, ideas that ultimately solve the challenges that are presented forward into this model. Now, again, this is a really exciting opportunity to be sharing this kind of program with you all. And the way that we have structured this particular sprint around the gender disaggregated data program will go over a 6-week period. So as we explore the components today, we understand that that 6-week window will be with colleagues with varying capacity levels, resourcing implications, and we've designed this program in a way that allows teams that come through that environment to essentially self-serve on the assets that are of most value to them, with the support wrapped around that from ourselves, from AIR, but also from a real strength of mentor pool and technical experts. Again, giving you the support that you need to result in solutions, ideas, concepts, and creations at the end of that 6-week period that really make a difference in this space, and that can really be taken forward in the environment of the program and the jurisdictions that we've mentioned, but also the global audience that will be convened around this sprint for further exploration and hopefully result in real tangible impact for the inclusion of women in financial services. So that at a high level is who we are, the backdrop of the wider program, and the nature of what sprints are as a tool for creating the right environment to solve these complex challenges. We will now go into a little bit more deeper detail on what that means in the context of this particular sprint program. But as mentioned, we will have plenty space at the end of this call. So please see this as an introduction, and we are more than happy to cover any questions following on from the insights that the team will share throughout the subsequent sections. So without further ado, Cyrene, I'll pass back over to you in a bit more of a polite manner without mid-sneezing fit now, if that's okay.
Thank you, Lauren. And thank you for providing such an excellent overview. So hopefully what AIR is, the GD program, and sprints are is much clearer to you. And it's really an opportunity now to really deep dive into what's at play here. So the AIR Global Design Sprint. So what it is a global virtual engagement. And really the aim is to bring together individuals and teams from across different parts of the gender disaggregated data GDD ecosystem, but also the financial sector ecosystem and beyond, to really, as Lauren said, to explore challenges that are really common across jurisdictions and geographies, and really hopefully develop practical solutions to those challenges. So the sprint in that regard really has 3 main goals. It's to really convene a diverse community of innovators. And here, when we say innovators, it can be really different people from different walks of life. We really welcome, innovation in spirit and different types of profiles. The second goal is really to stimulate new ideas and approaches. Here, the overarching goal is really GDD, so better harnessing gender disaggregated data. And the ultimate goal is really to enable better women's financial inclusion globally. And finally, as I have mentioned, is really to have a more practical oriented approach. So at the end of the sprint, we should be able to have developed practical concepts, tools, and solutions that address those different challenges. And how are we going to do this? So one of the key tools that we will be using is the platform, which you may have seen already. So this is an online platform that really is very innovative because it acts with different roles. So first, as a central repository of knowledge, tools, resources that all link back to gender disaggregated data and obviously women's financial inclusion. That's also where sprint participants will be able to connect with other team members, but across the sprint as well, and also with guest speakers and mentors throughout the sprint, and hopefully foster greater collaboration. And finally, there's also a space where you will have dedicated team spaces where you will be able to ideate and sprint with your team or alone, depending on the modality that you choose, because you will have dedicated workspaces where you can also use different data sets and applications. So going back to the slide here, as we have mentioned, it's really, we're really trying to tackle different challenges. And those challenges are reflected here across the 3 tracks. So it's really challenges that we have heard from different ecosystem partners, regulators, and experts, that those are really emerging challenges for the ecosystem. So the first track is really AI. So how to use AI to better harness the data that we are talking about. So it can be different tools, can be different themes, but it should center on AI. The second track is really human stories. We don't want to lose track of the fact that the data data is really important, but we don't want to lose fact of to lose sight of the fact that the data is really about humans. So again, having this perspective on women's financial inclusion. And the third track is about market action. So really enabling those market actors to deliver better products for women. And here, I think it was a good idea maybe to present to you an indicative structure of what that would look like. Obviously, the sprint will run over a 6-week period. And really, the general idea is to bring participants from devising a really early stage idea about what they would like to see and to develop across the track that they will have chosen to, at the end of the sprint, here you see demo day, to have a more fine-tuned solution by the end of it. And you see across the weeks that we will have different modules. So it will be master classes, mentoring on the platform, and obviously certain practical tools and exercises that we will have you do. And as Lauren mentioned, obviously not everything will be mandatory. And what's great with the platform is that we will be able to upload so many recordings and resources that if you don't have time, at a specific time during the day, you can definitely go back to the platform and look at those recordings. So in terms of the time commitment, we have estimated that it would take around maybe 3 hours per week for sprint participants across the global sprint. And maybe as really a linkage to what I have just said, this is an example of the resources that you will be able to find on the platform. So some data sets that we have collected on related to financial inclusion, and they will be available to you at this stage. And now maybe I think we can go to a demo of the platform and the application form. Over to you, Jessica.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I hope that everyone can see my screen. And welcome again. It's nice to see so many new faces and several friends and community members from a longer period of time as well. So welcome to all. I know many of you have already signed up on our platform. But the first step, if you want to be involved in this sprint, the community or other sprints in the future, is to sign up for an account on our AIR NAIA One page. This is very simple, takes a few seconds. So if you haven't done that, hopefully my colleague can share this link right now. I would encourage you to do that. On the back end, we will need to approve you. And I'm having a hard time seeing the next screen. So I'm going to stop sharing and close that page. Just give me a second here. Once we approve you, then you would be able to log in to the page. And I'm going to go back to sharing now. Great. So you'll have your account. And live demos are always tough. Let's see if this is going to work for me. Excellent, very good. So it's going to take you to a welcome page. There's a number of tools on the left-hand side. We're still building those out. So you'll see community hubs where you'll be able to get resources, sprint programs, team spaces. Today, I would like to just focus on the sprint programs. So once you come into this page, you'll see the sprint programs that's available. So we have our AIR Global Design Sprint page. And as my colleagues mentioned, we have 3 different focus areas. So this provides a little bit of background. You can go ahead and click on the focus areas and read through them. So we have an AI track, a human stories track, and a market action track. Some people are not sure where they fit into. So feel free to take a look at those, apply for things. Some of the applications we've seen, we could see in multiple tracks as well. So go ahead and choose the best one that fits where you're at. And so for the purposes of this, I'll go into the AI track. You'll hit the apply button and it will take you right to the application form. So we've seen both individual and team applications. So if you're applying with your organization, with your institution, you would want to go ahead and apply as an organization or team. For others, go ahead and apply as an individual. And then you would fill out the respective forms below: name, information, what organization, your track selection, for example. Again, this is not set in stone, but this helps us to understand where you would like to fit into. And then again, really trying to fill out as much as you can. We know that people come in with different levels of information around GDD, around AI, around these other areas. But as much as you're able to fill out where you're at, what you would like to learn, how you want to collaborate, any solutions you've started to think about, this really helps as well. So there's a number of sections. Again, filling out as much as you know. We don't expect you to have everything solved at this point in time. And the most important thing, make sure you confirm the terms and conditions and hit submit at the end. I think at this point in time, we still have around 6 or so applications that look very, very strong, but they haven't been submitted yet. So if you have one of those applications that's still pending, or you're not sure if you've hit the submit button, please go ahead back into the platform, make sure that you've actually hit that submit button. And I know my colleagues on the AIR team, Lucy and others, have been reaching out to make sure that those go through as well. One other area that I just wanted to mention here, there will be other roles for participants to take part in. And I'm going to see if I can move this. One thing we'd love for everyone to do is to fill out my profile. So you can see I filled out a little bit of information about myself. I put in a photo, first name, last name, very, very short bio because this was just a test. But again, this helps for others to be able to see those opportunities for collaboration, maybe those that are in the same country, region, organizations. Again, this is really going to help us to build out this community as well. So I think I'm at time. I will stop there. And unless my colleagues have anything else they want me to share from the demo. Otherwise, back to you, Serene and Lauren.
Thanks so much, Jessica. We can see your screen now as well, Serene. Thank you for that. As mentioned at the top of the call, this purpose of this session is to be here to add value to you all. So we did want to make it informal. We did want to make it an opportunity to ask us questions, hence the short presentation and overview of processes. I can see we have a hand up, which is fantastic. So Manal, would you like to come off mute, or feel free if you can't to put that in the chat box, but please do come in if you'd like to raise your question. Let me check. Maybe an accidental hand. Not
No,
sure.
I was trying
Yeah.
to write the chat, but for some reason it didn't work. Hi, my name is Manal. My question is about I tried to register and then I held back at some point because I was wondering for AI track, because you are going to work with data sets, does it require any heavy technical experience like data analysis and business analytics, etc.? Thank you.
Great question. Thank you for raising that. And I'm sure many others on the call are thinking around skills and how they can add value with their experience. So in short, no. The long answer is we are very keen and very interested for this sprint to engage diverse skills, diverse experience, and diverse representation. So if you are interested in joining us to solve this challenge individually, but you have or do not have a particular set of skills, but you are open to collaborating, for example, with another individual that comes through the application process who may bring a more technical AI or data science skill set, that is absolutely a path that we would love to support and see progress to success through this program. Similarly, if you want to join this program and explore an AI concept, or we've got active discussions around, as already mentioned, policy framework thinking and conceptual analysis of all three areas. Similarly, that is an output that we would love to see. So you aren't bound to having to create a tool or a technology or a AI application. we have intentionally set these focus areas as broad so that we can engage as diverse of a representation as possible. Hopefully that helps. Great. Let me know, Manal, if you have any follow-up questions. We can maybe jump to some of those in the chat box, as I can see we have quite a few coming in. So Devon, the first one in terms of expressed interest in terms of participants, partners and contributors. So yeah, we will be doing an announcement, of course, of participants once they are finalised and onboarded and available to share more publicly. Similarly, you'll see in the platform, we have the mentor space, which is growing as we are progressing through this period of the project design phase. But we also have a global advisory group of really strong colleagues across the global development space, such as Refinance Code, UNCDF, IFC, Women's World Banking, a whole range of real technical expertise and leaders across the gender field. Again, Victoria, maybe we could share the blog in the chat, which summarises how they engage with the programme and how we anticipate that playing out. Similarly, what we do ask in the application form is if there are particular areas of expertise you would like to engage with through this programme, through regulatory colleagues, through other technical expertise areas of particular theme. We would like to hear that in the application process. So we aren't sort of setting the guardrails and then sticking to them with the programme to the entirety. We do want to be quite reactive. So as we hear from you as applicants, what would be of most value coming into this programme, we absolutely want to be responsive to that and leverage the network that we have and leverage the connections across the ecosystem in this space to support you and tailor that sprint pathway as well as you progress. So again, there are a whole range of different pools of mentors and technical experts coming through the programme, and we can definitely share some materials which start to bring that to life as the programme's finalised from a speaker announcement point of view. Perfect. So just moving on then, Simon, thank you for the great question in terms of how will success be defined and who holds accountability for translating the outputs into regulatory change. So again, a fantastic question and probably one that I'm not going to answer with exact specifics without knowing the total view of what the solutions will be that come through the sprint and what kind of creations and innovations we'll be producing. But as mentioned, the global sprint will be running in parallel to our deep in-country programs. A lot of those, again, we will share throughout the sprint as they evolve and additional opportunities come up in terms of engaging in-country for some of these regulatory intervention programs and sprint activities that we'll be hosting. And there we see a real value in cross-pollinating back into the roadmap within that particular program of ideas, of innovations to really challenge that thinking. Similarly, we will have a series of events post-sprint that really celebrate and showcase the solutions that are explored in the global sprint. Now, again, that will be evolved as we progress through the programme and we understand, again, where people are interested in taking advantage of those opportunities and engaging in those showcase sessions. And similarly, how we can best support on a tailored basis, depending on the nature of the solution progressed, turning that dial from exploration into implementation. So I guess the top and bottom of that response is there is not a one-size-fits-all approach to how we see solutions translating into change. But what we are aiming to do throughout the programme is work with each team to understand opportunities of interest and what would be the relevant post-sprint progression steps for that particular team, for that particular solution. So again, that in combination with the in-country programs presents a real strong opportunity to support and strengthen change for innovators and regulators who we are working with across this programme of work. I hope, team, please do feel free to step in. I'm just rattling through some of the questions, and of course, as mentioned, please do come off mute anybody who has put a question in if you would like. Just moving down, Robert, in terms of will the participation be on an individual basis or are affiliated institutions, could they join? Again, we have the application form set up, which allows for both individual applicants or pre-formed teams to apply. We intentionally designed it in this way, again, because of the early stages of exploring this design sprint. We saw there was huge opportunity from individual innovators to potentially come on board, meet other colleagues from the global ecosystem, collaborate, learn, and build solutions together or progress as an individual. And we also have seen really great strength in applications of pre-existing teams. So where there are organizations that would like to submit a team to explore a particular concept, a prototype, or present a particular solution, we have seen a combination of both, and we are absolutely open and committed to supporting both types of engagement through the program. So in short, you're not bound by either particular route. And then I think we're on the second to last question. Again, please feel free to flag if I'm missing anybody's points. But Silvano, in terms of limit, in terms of applications or slots for each track, I guess there's maybe two ways that I'm reading this. So firstly, if you have a proposal that you'd like to apply against more than one track, as Jessica mentioned, we are seeing solutions that are relevant to more than one area. If you have one in mind or a particular solution in mind that you think is relevant to AI and human stories, you can just submit one application and flag that you're interested in exploring that against both tracks. We aren't designing this program in a way that segments teams into specific tracks of focus. You will have access to the masterclasses, to the resources, to the data across all three areas, and we anticipate there to be crossover in those engagements too. So please don't feel like you have to select only one and be tied to that focus area. There will be the opportunity to explore each of those. Similarly, if you have two ideas, which I'm not sure if that is where the question is going, maybe that's me just reading into the excitement of the art of the possible with this sprint. Again, you are of course welcome to submit an application on both ideas, but it is a lot of, admin of email addresses, organization, and name at the beginning. So feel free just to put both concepts into one application form and we can discuss forward from there. We do have capacity to support a range of teams on that, which I think is maybe the final interpretation of this question. With it being a self-serve and virtual environment, we have set up the infrastructure that allows for a lot of innovation to happen at the same time. So we aren't going into this with the kind of guardrails of having to cap this to a finite number of 3 to 4 teams. We are hoping that we can support a larger volume of innovators through this process. Great. And I think we've got a couple more coming through now. So in terms of strong applications, thank you, Pura, for that question. Again, what we would ask, and we don't want to put too much criteria around this, is we want to hear about your ideas, about your innovations, and about your areas of expertise, your interests and your skills, but also where you may be interested in finding value in this program. The more we as a team can understand what you would like to engage in throughout the program, even if not a fully thought out solution, it could just be the start of something. The more information we have in that form, the better we can shape the program to support you through that process. So that, from a position of strength of application, is all we would ask. Please do fill out as much information as you can in that form. And if there's any questions in terms of more specific details, then we're happy to cover those in subsequent calls as well. There is a question around some of the other roles that were mentioned. Again, Sari and Jessica, please feel free to come in so that I'm not doing all the talking. I welcome you to respond to some of these as well. But in short, we welcome organizations in as participation. And of course, if you are open and willing to share insights with your fellow teams through potentially hosting a masterclass or supporting them in mentorship through different capacities, we absolutely would welcome that opportunity. Obviously, we understand that resource, time and commitment is something that we will need to monitor. So that can be on a self-managed basis. And if you do want to play multiple roles, again, we'd be happy to explore how we can make that most valuable for you as well in your engagement in the sprint. We'll just take a quick drink break. And Cyrene, Jessica, please feel free to come in on any of the final questions while I have a quick sip of tea.
Sure. I can see a question here from Shiyu. Thank you for your question. You applied through the AI track, but you think your profile better suits the market action track. This is well noted. Also on the platform, as also Jessica mentioned, we have directed applicants through the AI track because it was easier, but obviously in the application form, there's a section on track selection. So it's really not a problem here, Shiyu. We can definitely take note of the fact that you think your profile suits better the market action track, but also, for your collective awareness, as we have mentioned, we will have a bootcamp, which is really an orientation and onboarding session at the beginning of the sprint. And there you will also have the opportunity to maybe change tracks once you've learned a bit more about them, or you want to find team members in other tracks. So it's really not set in stone at this stage. You will have the opportunity to join other tracks as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Cyrene. I see there's a question on IP, which maybe I can jump in on. Thanks, Devin, and great question. We have a segment in the participation pack, particularly around intellectual property and the expectations around the sprint program, which goes into a little bit more of the legal wording. I won't play back and get anything wrong on this call, but what I would just say is what we do not expect or what we do not ask in this sprint is for teams to disclose any information or specific functionalities or behind the scene detail around solutions that they are developing. The idea with this sprint is to really showcase concepts, showcase prototypes, showcase the art of the possible of such a collaboration environment around this theme. And that might be a high level demo or prototype as part of your showcase pitch, but we are not expecting or asking you to disclose that to the world in the fine details. Similarly, within the platform, if you are exploring a particular area or bringing a data set in that is maybe more confidential, we can lock down specific parts of that platform so that your development activity is not accessible or is not open source to the global ecosystem. So as, again, we progress with conversations around teams that are coming into the program, we do just ask that you would flag that kind of request. And of course, we'd work with each of the teams to ensure that the functionality within the platform and the space that you are developing in is in line with what you're comfortable with in terms of sharing of details of the ideas that you're exploring. Perfect. Julia?
Hello, thank you very much for this presentation. I have one question. Do we will have some mandatory meeting during this sprint or we should participate or not? Just to know if it's planning, it will be available just to share with my company manager, for example. Thank you.
Of course. Cyrene, do you want to come in on this from a program plan?
Sure. Thanks, Julia, for your question. So really the idea around the sprint is we're all aware of, professional commitments, academic commitments. So we really try to design it in the most flexible way possible. So very few modules are mandatory. I think at this stage, obviously, the last module is demo day. So that's where all teams and individuals pitch their solutions to a jury panel. So that would be mandatory at least for, an hour or two, beginning of September. But for the other modules, maybe I would encourage you to join for the bootcamp and the kickoff day. So really about orientation and then about, having the plenary, what the GDD landscape looks like, where we're going. So that would be mid-July, but that wouldn't be mandatory. Again, we will record all sessions and we will upload those to the platform. So you have also access to those after they're live.
Okay, thank you very much. It's noted.
Great, thank you. I think we've covered all the questions in the chat, but again, if we've missed anything, please do feel free to flag. The team will be available on this call for the remainder of the session. So if there are any further questions, please do feel free to use this time. But if no further questions are coming through, which I don't think they are, and if teams or colleagues are needing to drop off and jump to subsequent calls, just a huge thank you for joining us this afternoon or this morning or this evening, depending on where you're dialing in from. And we are hugely excited about this opportunity to work with you all on this really important topic. So please do let us know if there are any further questions offline. We hope to see your applications coming through for this programme of work. And if there are any queries or any other thoughts following the call, we are standing ready and waiting to support with those. Devin. Hi.
Thanks so much. Sorry, no, I've been posting a bunch of questions, so it's probably my turn to come off mute. Actually, just building on that, the point around demo day and that being a mandatory element. I actually was thinking about demo day and then going into the global showcase. What are you thinking about in terms of the like what would be your expectation in terms of engagement and time spent? I guess across those two events, presuming one went on to the global showcase, and sort of the expectation around working together to sort of socialize the outcomes of those events.
Yeah, absolutely. So the demo day, again, we will be compiling a full program structure. So as teams are admitted in or individuals are admitted into the program, they have a full runway of what exact timings are, what exact slots are, and what exact expectations are around these mandatory sessions in that September period. But at a high level, what we anticipate through that session is the demo day will really be an opportunity for us as a collective group to celebrate each other's progress in the programme, be presenting to a senior judging panel, which will be revealed throughout the programme, and really provide that snapshot into the progress that you've made, the solution that you are presenting, what comes next in terms of that progress. And from there, we will have a shortlist of solutions that are voted upon and that form the basis of the Global Showcase. So the Global Showcase event is something that we're evolving in the background. And again, it will be at a later date towards the end of September period. And it will be a celebration opportunity with a wider ecosystem of colleagues and regulatory peers around the learnings of the programme and the solutions that show most promise to being progressed into those adoption pathways. So similarly, it may be bringing that back into the in-country sprints and thinking about how we think about implementing some of these solutions, or it may be socializing on a broader perspective with the wider ecosystem of potential adopters. Again, that will be dependent on the nature of the solution that is explored. So it's really a series of celebrations for want of a better word, but we will be articulating a lot more of the time commitment. Again, we appreciate we have different time zones coming through the sprint. We will need to be considerate around that. And that is really why we're hoping to get a view of the teams that are interested and engaged and then joining this programme. And then we can provide that structure and test that thinking and ensure availability across the right teams for the right times ahead of those sessions.
Thank you.
Lauren, very quickly, I just wanted to come in and highlight a couple things that have been posted in the chat. We know many of you will be coming in for the global sprint. We have other sprints that are coming up, but I would like to encourage everyone to sign up on the platform. Again, there will be resources for the community. Also, I see a number of questions about other roles coming in as an expert or a mentor. My colleague did post an expression of interest for becoming a mentor. So I'd like to encourage individuals to sign up for that as well, because I think that there is a role for many of us to collaborate and take this sprint forward. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jessica. I think we've covered the majority of questions, but just as noted before, the team will be available for the remainder of this time. So if you would like to stay online and discuss anything, we are here and available. Otherwise, again, just a huge thank you everybody for the time today, and we look forward to receiving your applications to engage throughout this process.
Thank you for joining.
Just checking for those left on the call, if you have any questions or you'd like to come off mute, please feel free to do so.
Lauren, could we post in the chat the deadline for applications, just for anyone who still has a pending application, anyone who's thinking about applying? This is a great opportunity to kick off and get started and get that application in as soon as possible to meet that deadline.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, Lucy, if we could just send that out also to colleagues who've dropped off the call with all the links, that would be great. Maybe give it a couple minutes for those left on the call if there's anything you'd like to raise. And then Lucy, I think we can close the call if there's no further questions. Okay, I don't think there's any further questions, but if those that are still on the call do have anything and would like to raise, please do feel free to reach out via email. Otherwise, again, thank you so much for joining the call, and we look forward to receiving your applications.